There is a moment in every investor's life when the math stops feeling like math. It usually happens quietly, not at a dramatic market high, not after a big win. It happens on a Tuesday morning when you open your account and realize that last month your portfolio earned more in interest and dividends than you deposited. Your money made more money than you put in. For most people, this moment is somewhere between year 12 and year 18 of consistent investing. Before it, saving feels like filling a bucket with a small spoon. After it, the bucket starts filling itself. Almost nobody tells you when this happens. Almost nobody tells you how it feels when it does. And almost nobody maps the journey from $100 a month, where most people start, to the day your portfolio crosses $1,000 and the math has permanently changed your life. This video does that. Every level, every threshold, every psychological shift. Not just the numbers, the experience of each stage, and what changes when you cross it. Stay until the end. Because the last level is the one that surprises people most, not because of the number, but because of what the number actually means. We start with $100 a month. Not because it is the ideal amount, because it is the amount almost anyone can find, and because it is where most real investors actually begin. $100 a month is $1,200 a year. At 7% average annual return, a conservative estimate for a diversified index fund over the long term, the math in year 1 is unimpressive. You deposit $1,200 and earn $84 in returns. Total, $1,284. This is the stage that kills most investment journeys before they begin. The numbers are too small to feel real. The gap between $1,284 and anything meaningful feels like a canyon. What most people do not understand at this stage is that they are not investing money. They are building a system. The habit, the automation, the monthly ritual of not spending $100. That is what year 1 is actually building. The $84 is irrelevant. The system is everything. Year 2, $2,650. Year 3, $4,100. Year 5, $7,160. Still unimpressive. Still feels like the canyon. Most people who quit here. The first real threshold, $10,000. At $100 a month and 7% returns, you reach $10,000 somewhere around year 6. It takes a long time, and the number still feels modest. But something has changed. Your annual return at $10,000, approximately $700, is now meaningful. It is almost 2 months of contributions, generated without any additional effort. The account is beginning, very slowly, to help itself. More importantly, $10,000 is the number at which most people stop feeling like they could lose everything. Before this, a bad month felt catastrophic. After it, the account has enough weight that a dip becomes less frightening and more manageable. The psychological shift at $10,000, from "I hope this works" to "I think this is working." Level 2, $25,000. Year 11 at $100 a month. This is where compounding becomes visible to the naked eye for the first time. Your annual return at $25,000, roughly $1,250, is now larger than 14 months of contributions. The account is growing faster than you are adding to it. Something else happens here. At $25,000, unexpected expenses stop being emergencies. A $2,000 car repair, a $1,500 medical bill, these are now meaningful but not catastrophic. The account has begun to function as genuine financial security, not just as a future number. The shift at $25,000, from saving for the future to money working in the present. Level 3, $50,000. At $100 a month, this takes roughly 17 years, which is why most investment guides skip it. It sounds discouraging, but here is what they skip along with it. By year 17, almost nobody is still investing only $100 a month. Raises happened. Contributions increased. The timeline compresses. At $50,000, your annual return, approximately $3,500, exceeds 3 months of contributions. You have crossed the point where compound interest is no longer a background player. It is a meaningful contributor to your wealth every single month. The shift at $50,000. The account stops being a savings account and starts being a wealth-building engine. This is also the level where most people's relationship with their employer changes. Quietly. They are not financially independent, not even close, but they have enough outside the job that the job feels less like a necessity and slightly more like a choice. That shift in perception is not nothing. Subscribe if this is landing the way you hoped it would, because we map every level all the way to $1,000 and $1,000, and the shifts after $100,000 are the ones almost nobody sees coming. Quick note, I am not a financial advisor, and everything on this channel comes from my own research and analysis, not professional credentials. The projections in this video use a 7% average annual return as an illustrative assumption. Actual returns vary by investment, time period, and market conditions. These numbers are examples, not guarantees. Please consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Now let's continue. Level 4, $100,000. The number most people call the first real milestone. At $100,000 and 7%, your annual return is approximately $7,000. That is $583 per month generated without any contribution. For someone investing $100 a month, their portfolio is now producing 6 times their monthly contribution in annual returns. This is the level where the math visibly accelerates. From $0 to $50,000 might take 17 years. From $50,000 to $100,000 takes significantly less, because the existing balance is compounding throughout. From $100,000, each subsequent $50,000 arrives faster than the last. The snowball is no longer being built, it is rolling. The psychological shift at $100,000 is the most frequently reported inflection point in investor psychology. It is the level at which saving becomes qualitatively different. Before it, people feel like they are accumulating. After it, they feel like they are building. The words are similar, the experience is not. And here is the detail that compounds the psychological shift. At $100,000, your portfolio will double, without any additional contribution, in approximately 10 years at 7%. That means that even if you stopped investing today, the $100,000 becomes $200,000 by your mid-50s without you doing anything at all. The wealth is now self-sustaining at a level that matters. Level 5, $250,000. Annual return at 7%, approximately $1,700. That is $1,158 per month, more than most people's car payment, rent contribution, or monthly savings total, generated automatically every month from money that is already there. At $250,000, something changes in how you experience risk. A 20% market correction, historically painful, psychologically brutal for anyone with less, becomes a $50,000 paper loss that you know from experience the portfolio has survived before. The fear does not disappear, but it becomes manageable instead of destabilizing. The shift at $250,000 from managing fear to managing strategy. The questions change from, will this be okay, to how do I optimize from here? We made an entire video on what changes when your portfolio hits $250,000. It is linked in the description. Because the decisions at this level are different enough from the earlier ones that they deserve their own framework. Level 6, $500,000. Annual return, approximately $35,000. That is $2,116 per month. For many households, the portfolio is now generating more monthly than one full-time salary passively. The emotional experience of $500,000 is difficult to describe to someone who has not reached it, which is why so few people try. It is not euphoria. It is not the celebration you imagined. It is something quieter and stranger. The growing sense that the worst financial outcomes, the ones that used to live in the background of every major life decision, are becoming structurally less possible. Job loss, medical expenses, a business that fails, at $500,000, none of these disappear, but they change category. They become difficult rather than potentially catastrophic. That shift in category is the most underrated benefit of wealth, because it is not about spending. It is about the permanent reduction of a specific kind of fear that most people carry so long they stop noticing it is there. The shift at $500,000, retirement stops being a distant concept and becomes a date you can actually calculate. Level 7, $1,000. Annual return at 7%, approximately $70,000. At the 4% withdrawal rate used in retirement planning, this portfolio sustains $40,000 per year indefinitely, meaning the principal is never touched if returns hold at historical averages. Add Social Security. And for most Americans, this is a genuinely comfortable retirement income. Here is what surprises people about crossing $1,000 almost universally. It does not feel the way they expected. The number has been in their head for years, sometimes decades, as the finish line. The arrival at it tends to feel quieter than the journey suggested it would. Not disappointing. Quiet. Like checking a box that has been on the list for so long, you have forgotten what is supposed to happen after the check. What happens after the check is the interesting part. Because, at $1,000, the question permanently changes. It stops being, how do I build more, and becomes, how do I keep what I have built, and make sure it serves the life I actually want? That question, not the $1 million, is what financial independence actually delivers. Not a number, a question. A different, better question than the one you spent decades asking. We did an entire video on what that question reveals and how to answer it. It is the video on defining enough, and it is the natural next step from this one, because the map we just walked ends exactly where that video begins. Let me go back to the beginning, to the Tuesday morning when the math stops feeling like math. It happens somewhere between year 12 and year 18. Your portfolio earns more in 1 month than you deposit. The spoon stopped filling the bucket. The bucket is filling itself. Most people miss this moment entirely. They do not notice it when it happens, because they were not watching for it. They were watching the total, not the rate of change. The total changes slowly. The rate of change changes permanently. That moment, the Tuesday morning with the coffee and the account screen and the number that does not quite make sense yet, is available to anyone who starts the system and leaves it running. It is not reserved for high earners or disciplined geniuses or people who understood compound interest at 22. It is available to anyone who did not stop. $100 a month. Left alone. Long enough. The math eventually does the rest. Here is what I want you to do this week. Find the level you are currently at, not the level you want to be at, the level you are at. Pull up your accounts, add the balances, and locate yourself on the map we just walked. Then identify the next threshold, and calculate how long you are from it at your current contribution rate. That number, the months to the next shift, is more motivating than any abstract goal, because it is real and it is close. If you are not yet investing, the only number that matters is whether $100 a month is findable in your budget. Not $500, not the maximum. $100, because the system matters more than the amount in year one, and the system only has to start once. Tell me in the comments, which level are you at right now? And when did you first feel the math shift? When did it stop feeling like filling a bucket and start feeling like something else? I want to know. I read every single one. Subscribe. Because next week, we are covering the Vanguard Beata Rule, a relatively new framework from one of the most trusted names in investing that may be working against some of the people who trust it most. If you are in a Vanguard Target Date Fund right now, you need to hear this before the next rebalancing cycle.